Hi, it's Bronwyn from Wrap. Today I'm going to be chatting to you about noise gates, and they are fantastic tools. You can use them both technically and creatively. But before we get started in listening to these gates, let's quickly go over the 5 main parameters of the noise gate. These are threshold, reduction or ratio, attack, hold, and release times. Now, the threshold sets the level at which the gate will open to let the sound through. The higher the threshold, the louder or the stronger the signal must be to open the gate. The lower the threshold, the more sound will pass through when the gate is open. Your reduction or your ratio here is the balance between the original sound and the gated sound. So, for example, instead of using the gate to totally mute the background ambience on a vocal track, you can allow some of that ambience to still be heard if that's what's necessary and what you like. The attack time controls the speed of the gate opening. So, a gate that opens too quickly on a slower signal attack will produce or can produce a click sound. So, if you're working with percussive instruments, then use a really nice fast attack time. And for pretty much everything else, have a look at anything from 10 and above. If you're getting clicks, then you need to increase that attack time. The hold time, this is the minimum time that the gate will stay open. When there's a high speed fluctuating signal level, the gate will constantly open and close. You'll see it over here. And this is called chatter. Now, most noise gates are often internally set to a minimum of 20 to 30 microseconds to prevent chatter, although it's possible to set your own time. Hysteresis is another type of chatter control, and in this instance, the threshold automatically increases a few dBs for subsequent gate openings and then it decreases a few dBs for closing the gate. And the concept behind it is that any sound of fast and varied levels won't produce chattering. Then we have a look at the release time over here. The release time determines how long it takes for the gate to go from fully open to fully closed. Setting this time has a lot to do with how the gate is being used as noise elimination or effect. So let's say, for example, you're working to clean up a noisy guitar part and you wanted a nice natural decay that ends with the hum or the noise cut out. If you're using it as an effect, then it would be set a lot faster, and a fast release will quickly cut off the sound. Whereas if you wanted that resonance and that tail of that guitar part, then you would slow it down a bit, and a slower release is more like a fade out. So let's get right into it. The first example is I'm going to show you the typical use of a noise gate, and that is to clean up parts. And this is the snare mic from a recording of an acoustic drum kit. Let's have a listen. So you can hear the bleed from the hats and the kick in the mic. I'm going to now use the noise gate to clean it up. Okay, so the snare tail is cut off quite a bit, and you can really hear that gate working. And this is sometimes okay, especially if you're going to be adding in, say, for example, the overhead microphones from that acoustic session, because that will then cover up and help with the sound of the snare. So let's have a listen to that snare now with the overheads added in. All right, nice. So let's be a little bit more creative. I'm just going to mute all of these parts for a second. And let's close off that gate. And I've got myself a really nice, simple EDM groove here with a really nice pad. So let's go and have a listen to this pad. It is lush and beautiful and sustained. But now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add in a noise gate. And I'm going to use a random groove to trigger that noise gate on the pad. So what I've done is I've added a track and I've called it Trigger Groove. And on this, I've actually placed a groove. Let's have a listen to this drum groove just for a second. So that's the groove. All right, but I really don't want that groove as part of the main track. So I'm actually going to set the trigger groove, I'm going to set its outputs to no output. So it's still playing, I just can't hear it. Now I can put in my pad. Yeah, that's better. All right, so what I'm going to do with the noise gate on that pad track, I'm going to go to its sidechain. I'm going to tell it that I actually want it to listen to that trigger groove. And have a listen to this. Now, when I set, let's just grab this threshold and I can show you. So now, as that's playing, you can see, as I move this threshold, how that groove is starting to open and shut, trigger that gate, and starting to cut up that pad sound. So if I put this in context with the actual main EDM groove, have a listen to this. Right, I'm going to take it out. Pretty cool, right? The thing is that the noise gate over here is actually responding to the pattern of the groove, and that is what is opening and closing on the pad. So if we try different grooves, let's just grab another one. I have another one ready over here, and you can see that the groove is completely different. The pattern is completely different. Let's have a listen to what this does. Here's that pad sound again. Let's put in the noise gate, and you can see that it's still triggered. Let's listen. And then, of course, just changing that threshold really changes the response. Let's have a listen now with the whole context. Right, and just to demonstrate further, I'm going to actually just switch out the groove, and you'll be able to hear just the subtle differences between the two grooves triggering the gate. Okay, so now we can really experiment and tweak. We can automate those parameters if we like. We can then start to add on some crazy effects onto the actual pad sound as well. There's so many useful and incredible technical and creative ways that you can use a noise gate. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next video.